OMG, we have a very special one for you today. We are doing workflow hacks for Ecamm and Zoom. So if you want to get more out of Ecamm, more out of your Zoom presentations, this video is extra special. And it is because we actually are going behind the scenes in Michael Hyatt's studio and how he's set up to actually bring those two applications together, the different workflows that he's using to make his presentations freaking awesome. Now, I see all of you in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new, type new in the comments. And if you love workflows, like you geek out about this stuff, because guys, we're gonna geek out a little bit today. Just heads up, type heck yes in the comments. If you love workflows, if you find them a little bit overwhelming, type eeks. If you can spell that, E-E-E, as many E's as you want, K-S. All right, Jim, Tatiana, Paul, Brittany, I see you all here. Thank you so much for being here. If you are new to me, hi, I'm Luria Petrucci from Live Streaming Pros, and I love to help you shine through video and live streaming. Now, before we bring up Michael, I know that you are all anxious to chat with him and to see what he's got to say. Before we do that, I just want to make sure you understand what we're covering today. Scotty is new. Welcome, Scotty. Thank you so much for being here. So today's video, we're covering workflow hacks for Ecamm and Zoom. We're going behind the scenes in Michael's studio as well as mine. And of course, we have some exclusive goodies. I'm going to tell you about that here in just a second. Now, this is one video in a three-part series. We are looking at the best ways to get the most out of Zoom, and of course, how Ecamm can actually make that experience and your viewers' experience even better. And we will talk about why it's so important to focus on the experience. Now, in past videos, we covered the professional gear. So if you are interested in what it takes to look freaking good on camera, I say freaking a lot, you're just gonna have to forgive me, then that was video number one. Video number two was Zoom and Ecamm together and getting rid of those fuzzy presentations. And of course, today is with Michael and we're talking workflows. If you want some exclusive goodies, we have given away some pretty awesome stuff I usually charge for, but you have to be a registered viewer because of that fact. So it is completely free. We're gonna drop that link, make sure that you register for this series, and then we will make sure that you have access to the free stuff. And believe me, it will make your productions better. It will make you'll have all of the links to the gear, everything you need to be able to take this series and start doing it. Start doing it. So let's dig in. Man, Michael. If you don't know Michael Hyatt, then I just want to give you a little brief intro to him. He is known for helping you win at work and succeed at life through the full focus system. From being more productive with the planner I love so much and use every single day of my life, to goal setting, to helping me and you become better leaders in your world. He is my personal mentor who is, I can't say this enough, quite literally changed my entire life. And he loves Ecamm. He uses Ecamm and Zoom all the time. So we are gonna geek out a bit here. Michael, welcome, welcome.
Thanks, Luria. I am so excited to be here because I do geek out. And nobody on my team appreciates all this stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Do your thing, you know? So I'm doing this for hours, preparing. They're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's fun to be with people that appreciate it.
So when I first met you, we were building your video studio in your house, not this current one, you've since redone it. But I just remember every time we chatted, you were like geeking out about something new. You were like tinkering and playing, and I love the way your brain works.
Well, thank you. That was back in the old days of vMix.
Yes, yes it was.
it was so hard for me to sort of descend from the summit of Mac computers to work with these lowly Windows machines. And I'm half kidding, but to use vMix. And of course, if you don't know both operating systems, I was always kind of lost in vMix. And then when Ecamm came out, like I was over the moon. And it wasn't as developed as it is today, but I have never met more responsive developers or a more positive and engaging Facebook group than the Ecamm groups. And so I'm a huge fan. I recommend it to everybody I know, and I just love it. I'm a total fanboy.
I love that. And you are always inside the Ecamm group giving suggestions. And so he is part of this community, not just who you know him to be. So let's talk real quick. We're going to do a little behind the scenes tour here in a second. So, and then we're going to geek out about specific workflows that I think you guys will freaking love. Why do I say freaking so much? That's just my word. What?
It's a freaking good word.
But it's spelled, I just want to be sure we're clear on the spelling here. It's freaking, no G with an apostrophe at the end, just so
That's
we're clear.
true. I think I mispronounced it. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I'll forgive you. So the reason why it's so important for you to have like a pro quality setup, I just want to hear from your words why you have gone through a lot of expense and effort to make sure that your systems, that your not only your gear but your system and your software is really high quality. So why is that so important to you?
To me, it's important because there's nothing more important than making a great first impression and looking professional. If I want people to take me seriously, I've got to have serious gear. And I get on calls all the time, and you probably do too, Zoom calls, whatever, with people that don't have the right lighting, like they're backlit, or they've got some, crummy camera, some webcam. And then they're trying to use Zoom's built-in green screen feature, which, part of their face is disappearing as they move around. And I just think that makes such an awful, awful impression. And it literally takes money out of your pocket if you're a business owner or trying to make money online. I just think people discount what you have to offer when it's not professional. And I don't mean it has to be slick or cheesy. I just mean it has to be so good that people don't notice it. That's really
yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I find that everything I do converts higher when I'm doing stuff that looks really solid, right? Because it's just natural for people to appreciate and instant credibility and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people judge you they may not be able to articulate it like, well, he has a really good camera or that's nice depth of field. I mean, people can't usually articulate that, but they just go, wow, there's something about that that's just different. And so I think if you want to stand out, you got to be able to invest and really use the best stuff you can afford.
And also just time investment in setting it up so that it looks good too. I think a lot of people just kind of like fast track that, and they could spend just a little bit of extra time and get much bigger results.
Well, good example of that is, a lot of people do like a webinar, like we're doing here.
Yeah.
Not exactly a webinar, but a training. And a lot of people do that with just Zoom's built-in, SlideShare feature. And, there's this little postage stamp version of them on the top. And then you've got, the presentation below. And, certainly in a pinch, you can do that. Mm-hmm. But it's next level when you could actually do picture-in-picture kind of stuff like Ecamm allows.
Yeah.
And be able to have the animations while you're still on the screen and do it in a better way than just say like a Loom video, but something that looks more like, a television broadcast. And to me, that's always the standard. I always look at television as sort of an inspiration for what I do.
Yeah, absolutely. You were just talking about some things that you saw on television. You're like, I want to figure out how to do that in Ecamm right before we started here. Yeah.
Well, and I can demonstrate it here in a bit, but I love, like if you watch the network news, which I do almost every night, you'll see that there's camera animations. And by that, I mean, like let's say that the news host is going to have a guest on, then you might see a guest come on, but the camera comes on in an animated way. sometimes it's 3 up, like with the host and 2 guests. Sometimes it's 1 up. And then just, for example, like the guest may completely disappear because their camera or the image just gets smaller and the other one fills out.
Yeah.
But we can't quite do that. I can't quite do that in Keynote, which is where I do a lot of this camera animation, because you can't bring a guest into Keynote.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that Ecamm will eventually offer that, where you can have animations for your cameras.
Feature request.
When?
Okay, so we're gonna get to this behind the scenes tour, because everybody's talking about your guitars. So I'm gonna let you go to your behind the scenes camera and walk people. Let's give everybody an overview of what we're seeing, and that then we are going to dive into some of the specifics and talk about the workflows. Go for it, Michael.
Okay, so I have, as you can see, 3 Elgato key lights, which I love. They're sufficient for what I need. Sometimes I have a little light over here that you can't see. Maybe if I'm on this camera over here.
Got it. We can see that.
In a minute. There's 2 monitors. Then I've got a Rodecaster Pro 2. This is my computer. This is a MacBook Pro Max with, I think, 128 gigabytes of RAM and an M1 chip. So it's not even the M2 chip, but it's been very sufficient for what I need. I've got a teleprompter up here. I've got 2 iPhones up here that have been repurposed. I'll demonstrate those in a moment. And then I also have another repurposed iPhone up here that's nothing but a timer. I've got a second MacBook Air that runs my teleprompter. What you can't see in front of me is a Stream Deck. I'll show you that in a minute, and a Shuttle Express. So yeah, I don't know. Anything else you want to ask there?
I'm sure the audience, go ahead, go back to your main. I'm sure the audience will have lots of questions. We're going to do Q&A after we kind of go through the training. So if you have a question, type Q: in front of your question to make its way into my queue to be able to ask Michael this. But we're going to, I know everybody is loving the behind the scenes view right there. Love this behind the scenes, nice setup, looks like a Mid-Journey photo. So yeah, I don't even know what that means, but I feel like I'm missing pop culture reference here, but that's okay, that's normal.
Yeah, I can see that. So it's like an AI generated image.
Oh, Mid-Journey. Okay, I'm with you now. Oh, right, Mid-Journey. Duh. Sorry.
There's kind of the right
Nice.
iPhone camera. By the way, iPhones make great repurposed cameras for this type of thing.
Yes.
You can't get that much for them anyway. There's another one.
Awesome. I love it.
So
Okay, so we're going to answer all of your questions about what Mikey's using and all of that. I want to talk workflows, and then we can continue to geek out about gear. But let's talk some workflows and make sure that we pick his brain around what he's been able to accomplish using Ecamm and Zoom. So, through the time that I've known you, Michael, you've gone through various journeys of setups and workflows. And so one of the things that I found really interesting, and I couldn't understand why you were doing it, but I thought I was missing something. Your first setup where you were using the Stream Deck and Ecamm and using the presentations, you had it kind of separated out. I don't even know how to describe it, so I'm going to let you do that.
yeah, let me just go ahead and give you another view here. I'm going to turn it on Ecamm.
He's got all the views today. All the views.
Okay, you seeing that?
Yep.
Okay, so this over here, this is the scenes panel inside of Ecamm. And what you can see here is there's approximately 1 jillion scenes.
By the way, feature request from me, searchable inside of scenes. I need to search my scenes.
But I had a rigorous naming convention so that each one of these were sequential. And then on Stream Deck, I just had a key program that was next scene. I still do. And one that's program that's previous scene. And so when I click, for example, let me just see here. I'm going to get, it's like there's a lower third.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is not Keynote. I created it in Keynote, and I want to show you how I did this in Keynote. So I'm going to disappear here for a minute. Are you seeing that?
Yep, got it.
Okay. I got too many things going on to view
I
everything at once.
know.
So what I would do is I would export this as a movie. So where's the export screen? To a movie right there. But I literally wrote a macro in Keyboard Maestro. I was very proud of it. It was a very sophisticated macro. And the definition of an amateur programmer is we'll spend 10 hours of our life for something that'll save us 10 minutes.
Yes.
But I actually use this a lot. And so I would just invoke this with a keyboard shortcut, name exported file. It would automatically come up with a scene number based on the slide number. I could pick what type of overlay this was, give a brief description. Let's do this. And then I'd click on OK. And it would automatically fill in everything related to the export configuration. And then I'd just export it, which sounds pretty simple, but here's the problem with it. I literally had to build a separate movie or a separate slide for each animation. Or for each build.
Yeah.
So I go to point 2 here, I go to point 3 here. Those are a separate movie. Now let me just jump back to Ecamm. You see that? You're seeing Ecamm?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. So what that would look like is in Ecamm, there would be the animation. And you can see here that it's a movie that I imported. And then when I want to go to the next one, that's a movie that does nothing more than just puts that second point
on
the screen.
That's a lot of work.
Thankfully, I exported these as, what do they call this? HVEC? But it's a pretty, I don't know, small file.
Yeah.
But still, gosh, it was just tedious. It would take me hours and hours to set this up. And frankly, I felt like it was worth the effort, but still it was a lot of work.
So we're calling this the tedious one.
The tedious one.
But I wanted you to show it because I think that, this community can take little bits of that and use it and adapt it, right? And so like if there's anything you saw in there that could be useful for your workflow, I think that that's a worthwhile showcase of something that he turned out not using, but it's a workflow and it has a lot of potential in there, right?
And there could
You want to go back to your main camera?
Sorry.
No.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's probably a use case for those kind of animations, but here's the cool thing. I really feel like I know Keynote backwards and forwards. I've been using it for 20 years and love it. But if I can think of an animation, I can figure out how to do it in Keynote. So I use Keynote literally for all my graphic design, all my video animations, except a few things that I hired Paul Dixon to do that I couldn't do in Keynote. Like I'll show you one of these. So
Okay.
I use this countdown timer in my private coaching sessions. So the cool thing about that is that it just counts down. I'm talking with my client.
Yeah.
Both of us are conscious of the time, and we can pace ourselves. And when it gets within about 2 minutes of the appointment being over, and these are 50-minute appointments, as you can see. But when it gets within 2 minutes, then this thing goes red. The background on the time is red. And then it starts flashing when it goes overtime. So my clients love it. I've got like a 20-minute, a 30-minute, 45, 50, and 60-minute.
I love that. That's actually similar to something we might use later today during Q&A, which is a rapid fire Q&A that has some of the same, I forgot to tell you that, but yeah. So I love that you're using that and, in even just simple coaching calls. That's amazing.
I use Ecamm even on my most simple coaching calls.
Yeah.
Because the reason is that I can put my branding on it.
Yeah.
Now, Zoom has some capability for overlays now, but I found they're a long ways from where Ecamm is.
For sure. And I just want to speak from personal experience, if this is okay. I'm a member of Business Accelerator, which is his high-end, group coaching program. And you use on your Q&As, like you use this whole like Keynote setup and you do trainings. And literally, I think the point that I'm trying to make here is that everybody is always so engaged with it, right? It's versus if you weren't using the overlays, and you know, you have like a three-part training series, three-part training for that day, and you'll put those points, the bullet points essentially. It's simple. It probably takes you almost no time to build out, and it's powerful. So
Well, thank you. I mean, literally what happens on Monday morning, I do these group coaching calls on Monday morning with our entire Business Accelerator community, and people show up to that. And then I literally that morning before I get on, it usually takes me about 15 minutes to build the show in Keynote. And so like I template everything.
yeah.
So I've got a template for a lower third. I've got a template for a picture in picture, and I've got multiple sizes of picture in picture. But I basically have reimagined the canvas. And in fact, maybe just I could demonstrate this.
I was just about to ask you. So this is your current setup in terms of how you're building out trainings, whether it's a webinar or what we were just talking about with Business Accelerator.
Yeah. So here's what it would look like. So I've added a live video feed of my camera. So that's inside Keynote. Okay. And it's very simple to do.
I forgot that they had that. That was a recent addition, right?
Yeah, it's probably been available for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years.
Okay, where have I been?
And initially I thought, man, what's the overhead going to be? You know, is there going to be a lot of latency or lagginess between what is coming from Keynote into Ecamm and then back into Zoom? I mean, think of that. But honestly, I mean, you can tell me, Luria, there's never usually any lag.
Yeah, no, I thought you were straight from Ecamm to Zoom, actually.
Yeah. So this is like a lower third slide, but let me show you what it looks like, because I try to think, okay, what do I want this to look like? And let me preview it here, and I'll do it in this window. So it's really simple, and it will stay on, like I animated the logo. It will stay on here. And then, by the way, again, even the animated logo is in Keynote. Oh yeah, if you can imagine it, you can figure it out in Keynote.
Yeah.
And then this will stay up for 10 seconds, and then this lower third will fall off, so I don't have to remember to take it off like I just did. And there are some times that I actually want it to be there. Let me show you another one. This is kind of the one that, let me see if I can do it this way. Okay, that's a slide. Okay. So I might be able to demonstrate this better if I actually take it off demo mode. Give me just a second here.
Yeah, no worries.
A lot of moving parts. I feel like a one-man band here.
I know, totally. I hear you. So book marketing, just let me know, Michael, when you're ready. Book marketing, we are going to talk teleprompters here in just a minute, because that's one of the workflows that we wanted to share with you. So that's coming. And I know that a lot of questions are coming through. We are going to get to questions after the training. And yeah, apparently we all need to check out Keynote more. And if anybody has suggestions for learning all of these tricks in Keynote, then I would highly suggest you be a true community here and share with each other. Somebody asked in the comments of where to learn how to really use Keynote to its fullest extent. If y'all have suggestions, please do share in the community there in the chat room. You good, Michael?
I'm good.
Awesome.
So the good news on that Keynote training is there are some amazing people from our own community inside. Like you just go to YouTube and just search for Ecamm and Keynote, and you'll get some of the best training you could ever give. And
there you go.
I watch those things because I love to learn from them. But here's what that slide looks like, where it's the slide over. So I think of the canvas that I have to work with, and this is one where I'm using about, I'm taking about 25% of the screen. And so I have a slightly smaller canvas to work with.
We're not, if you're we're just seeing your main camera.
I wonder what's happening there. Let me just, oh, I know what's happening. Let's try this again. Give me just a second.
Yep, no worries. Bradley, yes, Bradley, duh. Like Bradley's teaching Keynote all the time around here in the Ecamm community and on his own channel. Adrian uses Keynote as well. So lots of resources inside of this community. So you are taken care of. We're going to talk about 2 additional workflows once we're done with this. How you doing?
Okay. I think I got it.
All right, let's try it.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go. So that's just a slide over. And
Okay.
so when I see that part of it that's on your right, I see that, let's see here. Yeah. So that's basically the canvas I have to work with. It's going to be smaller than a normal Keynote slide, but it still gives you plenty of room to work, and you get to be on the screen the whole time. And I've done different variations of this, and this is where you can let your creativity, really explode and do what you want. But that's a very simple animation, and then I go out of it like that.
Okay. And then how are you building Ecamm? Like, so you showed us all of the scenes. Are you doing it differently? Does that look different inside of Ecamm?
Yeah.
Oh, we went black.
Sorry, hang on a second. One second.
No worries.
Too many things. Okay.
You guys, I gotta say, I gotta give props to Michael right now because he took a little extra setup time to give you all of these different views. So I appreciate that from you, Michael. And as you know, when you add in a whole bunch of extra stuff, sometimes that can happen. There we go.
Yeah, exactly. So now you should see my behind the scenes thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So we just make that a little simpler. So all I've done is when I do Keynote, and you won't see it here, this will look funny because I don't have Keynote running, or at least not in presentation mode, but I just have literally that one scene, which is called Keynote Slides. And I know it's black right now.
Yeah.
But that will just go to, the Keynote Slides. And then I'm working on Keynote from there on out. I don't really think about Ecamm.
Amazing. Okay, so that's the current workflow. You just build it all in Ecamm. You use the live video setup if you want to come back to your main cam, and then and then all you have is a single scene inside of Ecamm that's pulling in the Keynote.
Exactly.
Amazing. Simple.
Are you seeing that now?
I am. Yeah. You're.
Okay, I wanted to show you something here too. So again, it's just all I'm doing is moving through the presentation, one slide at a time, and it's pretty simple. But you can even do even more complex animations. So this is a concept I teach, Luria. You're very familiar with it.
I love this. I love this full focus compass.
Let me show you the kind of thing that you can do. I want to make sure that I'm seeing what you're seeing. Okay, you're seeing
I'm seeing a gray circle.
Okay. So then I animate it. So if I'm explaining it to a client, or I'm doing a webinar, like tonight, I'm doing a presentation, I'm doing my signature training tonight on social media. And so I want to show you one part of it here. Okay. So I'm talking through this as I'm going. Again, all this is animated inside a Keynote. And then I use the magic move transition to take that whole thing and move it to various places as I explain the concepts.
That's awesome.
Again, all that just inside of Keynote.
Okay, so I love your workflow. I think it's super simple, and I have one big problem with it.
Okay.
Do you want to come back to your main camera, unless there's something else you want to show? Oops. So my problem is that I actually hate Keynote. I hate working within Keynote. I'm terrible at graphics. That's why we have the magical Mr. Paul Dixon on our team, the man who built that timer that you mentioned earlier. And I can't stand to spend time in Keynote. So what he does, and I know that there are a lot of people in chat, and I can call you out by name, but I'm not going to embarrass you. No, but you're just like me, who you're like, I don't have that technical proficiency, and I don't do graphics well. So what he does is he builds out like a template like this, and then all I have to do is go into my presentation inside of Ecamm, and I literally just build out each scene and the templates itself, I just edit all of the text. So if I'm doing, that, I can just come in and edit the text. And he has made my workflow so much better from that perspective. So a couple of different options if you're like me or if you're like Michael, head to head.
I have a question about your setup. So
Yeah.
are you exporting those Keynote slides and then pulling them back into Ecamm?
I don't know what he does. Paul, what do you do? He creates it in, I don't think Keynote. I think he's using something else, but I could be wrong. So I'm going to wait on him to respond. Can you just, I'm looking at the live chat, Paul, if you'll let me know. So we'll come back to that, but essentially all I do is I get, he builds out a profile in Ecamm and I load that in, but with most of that stuff already built, but he could just give me the raw files and it would be easy enough for me to load in as well. This is right, but where are you creating the animations, Paul? That's what he's asking, right? That's what you're asking?
Well, I'm assuming some of that's After Effects.
Oh, wait. With an animated, so it's all, he's saying it's all built in Ecamm with an animated background.
Okay.
So,
cool.
A couple of different options there, right? So I think that's worthwhile.
And I think a lot of it depends on what tools you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
Like there are some people who would never think of designing anything in Keynote. It's all going to be in Photoshop or Illustrator.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel the same way about those tools as you do about Keynote. Is every time I get into them, I'm just like kind of overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But I know Keynote. But I will say this. First of all, if you don't have design shops, it's okay. That's why people like Paul exist and other designers. Just hire them. And frankly, it's a little bit of an impediment to me, and I'll tell you why. If I was just like Luria, just focused on the content, that's probably where your focus needs to be. Now, I love doing all this animation and doing all the Keynote design and everything, but I'm probably paid too much to do that. I could probably hire it done cheaper. So it's probably what I need to get around medicine. You know what I'm saying?
I think your team would agree.
Shh, don't tell them.
You guys, this is a secret, okay? No one tell anybody on Michael's team. He spends so much time doing this stuff.
I have to tell them, I'd say, well, it took like 20 minutes. I mean, no big deal.
No big deal. But you could have been spending 20 minutes doing something else, which is what you teach me, by the way. I'm just saying.
I know. But here's the thing, and I think your point is really important, Luria. If you get a template like Paul designed for Luria, then it's very easy. So when I do my Monday morning call with our Business Accelerator clients, I've got a template, and literally in 15 or 20 minutes, I can have lower thirds, picture-in-picture, all of that. It just takes me a few minutes because I've got a template, and it's almost always the same. I swap out the titles, swap out the text, and boom, I'm ready to go. So same thing with webinars. I have a template for webinars. I have a template for Keynote presentations. Whatever it is, I've got a template for it.
Templates for sure.
Yes.
Workflow, very, very important on that. And a point of clarification. So the animations are built in After Effects and then everything else is done in Ecamm for my workflow.
I can do a ton of animations inside of Keynote, but there's some things I just can't do. Okay. Like those timers that he built for me.
All right, so now let's talk about the second workflow, Stream Deck in the mix. So you all know how much I freaking love. I need to get more stretch here. I love my Stream Deck. I actually this morning was like, I don't have enough keys on my Stream Deck. Now, thank goodness, in my behind the scenes, I have like a Loop Deck and I have another Stream Deck X and another Stream Deck over here. I have lots of Stream Decks, so I'm all set. But I love my Stream Deck and I use it and abuse it. And you also have a Stream Deck on your setup, but I was noticing on your behind the scenes camera that you actually don't have all the keys filled, and it took me by surprise.
Well, first of all, I didn't know that was a requirement.
Of course it's a requirement. If you're gonna geek out about this stuff, you're gonna gonna have to geek out fully.
You gotta draw the line somewhere. So I would say I have not maximized the Stream Deck to the extent that I probably should. But I will say this. I've tried all kinds of input devices for advancing my slides, because that's essentially what I'm doing.
Yeah.
When I'm making a presentation inside of Ecamm, or actually from Keynote to Ecamm, all I need to do is to advance to the next build or the next slide. I've tried, the clickers of various sorts. I tried the Elgato pedal,
Yeah.
which I hate.
Why do you hate it? I know
Well,
that question is going to flood.
I've got all kinds of Elgato stuff here, and I love Elgato as a company, and I love the build quality. But the pedal, I find noisy, and I find that it doesn't always fire.
Yeah.
And yes, I've adjusted the tension and the spring and all that. It doesn't always fire. So what that does is I find that I have to keep looking at, I don't have total confidence that what's advancing on the screen, that it's actually advancing. And so I find myself looking down a lot like this, which I don't like to do when I'm making a presentation. I want to, as much as possible, maintain eye contact. So I've just found that just to put that on the Elgato, let me just switch here to a different view.
Okay.
Or on the Stream Deck. So
There we go.
Unfortunately, this is tethered,
tight.
so I can't hold it up like you did. But I've got, okay, this is kind of stupid, but down here, I have 4 keys that are all the same.
I love that.
And all they do is advance the next slide or the next build. And that way, if I'm kind of reaching around and I'm fumbling around, I've got 4 shots to get it right. And then I have a preview or a previous one here. Okay. And then I have up here, advanced or previous scene, next scene, but I don't really have much. Go live, whatever.
Honestly, that is such a brilliant move right there. I've never even thought to put give yourself some buffer room. Now, if you were to be using the X keys, you could have you could shape it so that there was a big button, right?
Yeah.
You can customize that. So that's another option, but that's brilliant. I love it.
I've tried a couple different options there. And I've also tried different options for controlling my teleprompter.
Yeah. Oh, which is our third workflow. Let's talk teleprompters. Everybody was asking about them before. So
okay, so let me just do something here in Ecamm. Okay, so I have another camera here. And so I've got these mapped to the letter A and the letter B, because Ecamm allows you to do that now. And so that's my teleprompter camera. Are you seeing that, Luria?
Yep, we are.
Okay. Now, let me just, again, show you behind the scenes so you can see this. Let me see if I can do this. Okay, so I'm looking over here at this camera. That's where you were seeing it through.
Yeah.
I've got my timer there. I'm seeing on the Mac itself is my Ecamm feed that's going to the world. This is what's coming out of Ecamm. So I can kind of glance down to make sure it's okay. And then right up here is my teleprompter. And I'm controlling the teleprompter with this MacBook Air over here, or at least it's running on this. And I use the teleprompter software. I've tried them all. And I love the software called Teleprompter. Really clever name.
Really clever.
Right, really clever name. But then I use this Shuttle Express. Okay, I'm going to see if I can show you this. This is what it looks like. And it's a wheel. And it's got 5 keys. And so one of them advances. You can program these a lot of different ways, but you can see the teleprompter text is moving up. And then I can click it again and it stops. So I can, if I want to ad lib or whatever, I can do that. And more, what I have on the teleprompter is just my talking points. I don't really have full-blown script. This was actually a promotional thing that I was doing. So it wasn't script. And then another key, if I push this key up here, it goes right back to the beginning of the whole thing.
I use the just a jog wheel, but I like that. You've been using that for 3 or 4 years at least, right? That one.
Yeah. It's just called Shuttle Express, and there's a couple things to consider. First of all, how easy it is to use, but then what kind of noise does it make?
Yes.
Because you don't want your mic to be picking up the sound of clicking, for example.
Exactly. Sarah, real quick. So just to say that again, Shuttle Express. It's an X press, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Shuttle and then the letter X, press.
Perfect. I have a quick question about your clock. This is totally like geeky. Do you have it running up, running down? Like, how do you have that programmed?
It's just the actual time.
Oh, okay.
So I used to have inside of the teleprompter software. I'm looking over here because this is where it is. But inside the teleprompter software, you can actually put a clock on the teleprompter screen. That's a countdown, count up, whatever, or just the actual clock. I don't really use that. I'm really good at time. Like I almost never go over. I mean, you know, from like the Monday calls, I mean, almost always in, boom, right on time. A bit of a sixth sense.
I mean, you've been doing this for so long, so, you know, it's like you just have experience in different, you know, environments, so you are very spot on all the time. Which teleprompter did you say you have?
I didn't, because I can never remember.
Is it one I suggested?
I think it was, but it's not an iPad one. It's got the LCD monitor built right in. I don't like the iPad one.
We're going to talk about Bluetooth versus LCD real quick. Let me just finish that thought. His is either the Ecamm 12-inch LCD. No, it's not the Ecamm. Okay. That's one of, what?
That's what I'd buy if I was doing it now.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I think mine's like Easy Prompter or something like that.
Yeah, I remember being like, why did we recommend that? But I love the Ecamm, and then that's on one of my, so like if we go here, this is the Ecamm one over there, and then this is Prompter People, and they're actually, I have a switcher, or I have a splitter, so that both of them show the same thing, so I could do like a side shot as well. So I love both of them for different reasons, but yeah, let's talk about Bluetooth versus LCD. You said you hate it, and I'm on the same boat. Why?
It's just not reliable.
Yeah.
You know, it'll just flake out or stutter. You know, it depends on how many signals you have going through your facility, but I've just never found it reliable. I've had it flake out in the middle. It's the same reason. What's that prompter software where you talk and it follows your voice?
Prompt Smart.
Yes, I love the idea of that.
Oh, me too.
But I never use it in a production setting unless I have somebody hovering it over it like a chicken trying to hatch an egg.
Yes.
Because I just, sometimes it'll get stuck.
Yes.
And it's pretty frustrating to try to cover when you're doing that.
Yeah, if you're just recording a YouTube video or whatever, like that's okay, because you can stop and restart. But if you are doing Michael spends his time in webinars and things that make the business money. And so if you have like this big kind of screw up, then it could cause issues.
I got to say something about that, because this is something that maybe will surprise a lot of people, but screw ups really help you convert. I don't know why, but I've had colossal screw ups. I had a situation one time where I was downtown about 3 blocks from my house in my office, and I was doing a webinar and the internet just went out.
Yeah.
And I had 1,200 people on this webinar.
Ugh.
And so one of my colleagues jumped on it, who was still on because I had a guest host. And she said, wait, he's running home. And I literally was running from my house 3 blocks to the house. I fired it up and people stayed on. And I think we lost like literally less than 100 people. Everybody else stayed on.
Wow.
And that was the highest, at that point, it was the highest converting webinar that we'd ever had. So
amazing.
I had some epic failures. Epic.
But if you had them all the time, that would be different, right?
That's right. It doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
But now when it does, I just don't freak out.
Exactly.
I know anything is probably going to help me. I just work my way through it.
Speaking of that, we had a question that I thought was a really good question. Duncan Manley said, Michael, how do you read the room when you're making a presentation? Any tips for reading the room while you're managing the presentation?
Yeah, it's really tough. That's why I like, for example, what Sage does when they produce events. where like if you've seen Tony Robbins ads or whatever, there's like a wall of monitors with a whole bunch of Zoom rooms, and it's pretty sophisticated. I don't have that. So the most I can see is maybe some Zoom people, but I'm usually, in Ecamm when I'm producing a show and I'm not looking at the faces. So I rely on the chat. So I have the chat open and I try to be, and frankly, Luria, you were a big influence on this. Pete Vargas was another one where I would just interact with the chat.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll ask people, give me a 7 if this, or, whatever it is. I think you get a sense of what's happening if you do that.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes.
If you start losing people, like I do monitor in Zoom, like what people are at the peak. Yeah. And then if they start falling off, I pay attention to that.
Well, yeah, as a presenter, you have to. I mean, I have a team member, Dave, in our webinars and our presentations, right, tracking the peaks for the official data. But I am actually paying attention to those numbers consistently for the same reasons. It's very important that you learn to read what's happening from chat, because they're not always going to say anything, right?
Yeah, exactly. Thankfully occasionally we'll have a troll, but we always have people monitoring the chat too from our customer support so they can boot the trolls. We've completely lost patience with those people.
Yeah, absolutely. So from a presentation workflow perspective, one quick question. Tatiana wanted to know, do you still affirm before a talk, and has that changed over time?
Like go through my affirmations?
I think that's what she means, yeah.
I don't do it much anymore unless it's a keynote speech in front of a large audience where maybe I'm a little bit nervous and I just want to kind of get refocused on why I'm there and why it's important. But like for a webinar, I'll do a webinar tonight. And I don't typically do that. I mean, here's what's changed for me. There was a time, Luria, when I was so nervous about public speaking that I dreaded it. I mean, my armpits would sweat so bad that sometimes I would not go on stage unless I had 2 t-shirts on underneath my regular shirt. I was like, it was just so hard. Yeah. And I would I wouldn't sleep the night before. I'd want to throw up the day of, it was terrible. But everything in life, I was talking to Gail, my wife, about this the other day. Everything is exposure therapy, right? The more you do it, the less likely it is to trigger you. Mm-hmm. And so this is actually a thing in psychology, exposure therapy. Yeah. So back in the days of Periscope, do you remember that technology?
Oh, come on now. That's where we first met, I think. Wasn't it? No, I don't know. But I remember you using it a lot.
Yeah. So somebody challenged me to do a 30-day challenge where I went on Periscope every day and just interact with my audience. And I tell you, by the end of 30 days, I was really pretty comfortable with live streaming. And so I went from dreading it to not hating it to where I now literally, I look forward to it. Like today, I was so geeky excited when I got up because I did one with Pete Vargas before I got on with you. I got on this one. And I'm doing a webinar on my social media channels tonight. Yeah. And so this is a red letter day. I love it.
Awesome. I love that. Okay, Michael, I got to let you go in 5 minutes. So we're going to do some rapid fire Q&A. Are you ready? So here, just super quick. When I throw it to you, it's going to look like this, and you've got until it goes flashy red. Okay. That's how this is going to go. All right. Ready? So first question. How's your phone connected? Because everybody was asking about whether you're bringing an app or wired or what, your phone as a camera.
Yeah, so it's wired. The ones on the 2 side are wired. The one behind me is using Apple's, what do they call that, Connect feature? So if you're on the same wireless, it will automatically connect. So I used to have to use, I can't remember what that technology was called, where I had to run a separate app to bring it in. But now you don't have to think about it. I mean, it just automatically comes in. Okay.
Oh, look at you. You got it before it even rapid fired. Good job. Okay. Lori, did you use a different camera for the quarter camera shot of you, for the 1/4 camera shot?
But I should show that again. Oh, this is rapid fire. Oh my gosh.
Continuity. I'm sorry. I was looking for new questions. Continuity is what he was referring to.
That's it. So what you have to do, I gotta meet the deadline here. So what you got to do is you're going to move the camera. The camera is centered. If you could see me, I'm behind this in the middle. Can you see this slide?
Yep.
Okay.
Hurry.
So you animate this. You're going to just basically move it over using the action animation, and then you can move this slide with the built-in move. Dang.
Oh, darn.
Okay, I lose. What?
Good job though. Okay, next question is Michael from Mike. Is there a specific reason why you're using the MacBook Pro versus a Mac Studio or Mac Mini?
Well, neither of those were available when I bought this. You know, I guess the Pro was in some previous incarnation. If I was doing it again, I probably would. But honestly, I love not having more than one computer. I used to have two computers.
Yeah.
But I love having a MacBook Pro so that everything is with me no matter where I go. And like literally this computer, the fans never come on. It can push a lot of stream. Like tonight, I'll be pushing 4 streams and it can handle it.
Good job. We haven't even... Good job. Okay, 2 more questions. Before we finish these 2 questions, you guys, you've got to follow Michael. If you're not paying attention to what he's doing, you are missing out. He has quite literally leveled up my entire life on the personal side, on the work side, as a leader of a company. Like everything in my life is better because of Michael. So, and that's me, not me blowing smoke up his butt. That's the honest truth. We're going to drop his links, so go click those. 2 more questions. Are you ready, Michael?
Great.
All right. Teleprompter work. Oh, sorry. I didn't give you enough time. Teleprompter workflow from Giovanni. He uses the narrow, very, very narrow margins on the teleprompter. Do you concur?
Yes, I do, because you don't want your eyes scanning horizontally along the screen to read the lines. So it really depends on how close you are to the teleprompter. I'm pretty close. I'm probably 3.5 feet from it. So I shrink the margins using the teleprompter software so that my eyes don't have to scan horizontally too much, because I want to create the illusion that I'm not reading from a teleprompter. Yeah. And so I will pause or intentionally stumble, you know, sort of create the illusion of spontaneity.
Good job. Oh, right as we went off of it.
That was you. That was not you. That was not me. That was you.
Oh, fair enough. I was late to the button. That's right. Next question. Oh, I keep hitting the wrong button. Doesn't look like Michael is wearing an earbud. Are you playing audio through an external Mac speaker?
Yes, I am. And I used to wear the earbuds all the time. And I just don't think it's necessary in most situations. There's probably, for the audio files out there, you're thinking, yeah, but we're picking up too much room noise, or I can kind of hear your voice coming back through. I just don't think, I'm more comfortable without it. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah. And while we still have time left, which mic are you using?
I'm using the Rode NT5.
NTG4? Are you using the 5?
I think it's the 5.
Oh, okay. He's upgraded. Okay. Fantastic. Michael, thank you so much for spending your time geeking out with us and diving into all things workflows with Ecamm and Zoom. Any final thoughts or ideas?
Thanks for having me on. I could do this all day. But, we'd probably be talking to each other and nobody would be watching. But, but thank you so much for having me on. And I've learned so much from you, Luria. I wouldn't be live streaming today if it weren't for you. And I give you a shout out to our clients all the time, because there's nobody better to work with. If you want to learn to live stream, and if you want to get the very best look you can get, Luria is the person to go to. She's my go-to person. She's my number 1 recommendation, and Ecamm is my number 1 software. So big shout out to them as well.
Oh, thank you so much. And the whole Ecamm community freaking loves you, as do I, if I haven't been obvious about that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. All right, you guys, we are going to wrap this baby up. Thank you for joining this free series. If you have not registered to get some good freebies that usually we charge for, go ahead and register for the series. You'll get those in your email, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.